Hello everyone, welcome back to PHP course. In this lecture, we're going to look at PHP Multidimensional Arrays. So the objective for this lecture is to understand how to create multidimensional arrays in PHP and to learn how to access and manipulate elements within multidimensional arrays. So what are multidimensional arrays? So these are arrays that contain other arrays as their elements. These are often used to represent data in a table or a grid format or to group related data logically. So we'll be looking at two types of multidimensional arrays, that is two-dimensional arrays and associative multidimensional arrays. So let's start with two-dimensional arrays. So this is an array of arrays. Think of it as rows and columns like a table. So this is an example of two-dimensional arrays. So we have three arrays that act as element for the matrix array. So let's look at how we can access a two-dimensional array. So we're going to write an echo statement right here. So let's echo matrix. Then, so let's say we want to output 6, that is an element on the second array. So first we have to identify the index of the array that we want to get our element from. So it's on the second index array. So that is index 1 and followed by the index of the actual element. So it's on index 2 of the second index array. So let's run our browser and see the result of this. So we are getting 6. So we can do the same if we want to access 8. So if we want to access 8 is in the third array, meaning it's on the third index. In this scenario, it's 2, because by default, arrays start counting from 0. So that is 2. So it's also on index 2. So this is the third array that has a key of 2. And of course, the element 9 is also having an index 2 in the third array. So let's run this and see the result. The expected result should be 9. So we're getting a 9. So that's the expected output. So that is correct. So that's how we declare a two-dimensional array and also how we can access an element in a two-dimensional array. So let's now look at declaring an associative multidimensional array. So this array can also use associative arrays as elements. So this is our example. So this is the main array. Then we have our first array right here. So you can include a comment right here. This is our first array. Then we have another array. So this is our second array. So this is the main array, then this is the first associative array. So we have two associative array. This is the first one and this is the second one. So in the first associative array, we have 3 keys and respective values. We have the same for the second associative array. So you can see this as an example of users. So this can be our first user and this can be our second user. So if you want to access the name of our first user, then let's echo the statement right here, echo users. So our first user is on the first array, which is the first element on the main array. So this is on index 0. So we'll have that on index 0. So on the first array, we have 3 keys, that is name, email, and age. So if we were to access the name of our first user, then we'll just have the key right here as name. So if we save this, we'll be able to access the name of our first user. So we've left a semicolon right there. So we are able to get the name John, who is our first user. So we can access the email and age of our first user. So our first user is on index 0. So we can use the same to access. So let's just copy this 2 times. Then this will be email. Then we can have the edge right here. So if we save this, we'll be able to get the name, the email, and the edge of our first user. So let's run this on the browser. So we are able to get the name, the email, and the edge of our first user. So to get the name, email, and edge of our second user, let's copy this and paste it here. So remember, our second user is on the second index of the main array, so it will be index 1. So instead of 0, this will be index 1. So this should return the details, that is name, email, and edge of our second user. So let's save this and run. So we are now able to retrieve the details for our second user. So that's how we can access elements of associative multidimensional array. So as we conclude, multidimensional arrays allow you to represent and manipulate complex data structures in PHP. By mastering the creation and access techniques, you can work with table grids and hierarchical data efficiently. Practice this concept to enhance your understanding of PHP arrays. So thank you. See you into our next video tutorial.